the sunlight, burn right through it. You come to me in the middle of the night. You come to me in the middle of the night. I didn't notice that you were no longer there. I didn't think if you even cared. I didn't see who you're running with. Oh no, who you wanted to forgive. You come to me in the middle of the night. You come to me in the middle of the night. You know I saw you in a dream last night. And my heart, it sank like a stone. Now everything started hitting home. You come to me in the middle of the night. You come to me in the middle of the night. In the middle of the night.
right, welcome everyone to our Sunday night social. We're gonna work on our weekly setup. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. My name is Maya Martin Glenn. I am here in Denver, Colorado, where we have yet to get our first snow of the season. We are hoping for Friday, but it hasn't happened yet. So a little weird. The weather did turn cold today, so that's good. I see lots of returning folks that I've seen before, and I see lots of folks who are saying this is their first social. So welcome to everyone. We are so glad that you are here tonight. So with us tonight, we also have our stage manager, Malika is here. So if you have any questions, please pop something in the chat. She will take care of you. I try to keep an eye on the chat, but I got a lot of things going on here, so sometimes I don't catch it. So the chat does move a little fast in these weekly socials. So just kind of keep an eye. You can always sometimes click in that and stop it. You can kind of scroll down so you can keep it from moving so you can read some of the things that are on there. So also be sure to set your chat to everyone. If you just have it for the host and the panelists, Malika and I are the only ones who are going to see it, and we want you to be sure that you're communicating with everybody. So make sure that you pop that in there. Also, just to mention, just by signing up for tonight's social, you are entered to win our monthly self-care gift raffle. So once a month, we pick someone who has attended a social and they get a cool self-care gift basket. So keep an eye on our emails that they send out. I think it's called the Compass. I think those come out once a month, and those a lot of times will have the names of the winners for those. So, and if you do win, they'll contact you via email, and it'll be your Silk and Sonder email. That's the other thing I want to mention really quickly. If you are not getting emails from Silk and Sonder, they send out not a ton, but a fair amount, maybe every few days or so, there's maybe something. If you haven't gotten any emails from Silk and Sonder, be sure to check your spam folders. If you're on Google, make sure that they're not going into the promotions or the social tab. Sometimes they tend to hide away there. So make sure that you're getting those. And also be sure, take a picture of your setups, take a picture of your pages, and share those in our app. Hopefully everyone has the app, and you can kind of pop in there and share pictures, share ideas. There's just a plethora of information in there. So without any further ado, as you probably know, even though today is only the 5th of December, our monthly theme is indulgence. And this one's been interesting to hear from our folks in some of the other socials where indulgence, I gotta be honest, a lot of times has a bad connotation, right? We think of it as a bad thing to be indulgent. I think we often think of overindulgence perhaps at this time of year, but I want you to kind of think about ways to reframe that as you're thinking. And really, if you look at the definition of that, it's the practice of allowing enjoyment of whatever is desired, right? Doesn't have to be a bad thing. In fact, it probably should be a good thing. And so this is a great month to indulge in a whole host of things. And it doesn't have to be, the other thing I wanted to mention too, somebody had a really good post in the Sonder Club about feeling like it had to be an extravagance, right? So like extra spending or something, I don't want to say like only rich people could do, but you know, kind of saying that, oh, I can't indulge because I don't have any money, or I don't have the resources to do that. And that's not what this is about at all. Really, if you think about it with our Silk and Sonder, indulgence really is about indulging yourself in self-care, right? I see Allison said she indulged by sleeping in until almost 9:30 this morning. That is a perfect example of indulgence. Yesterday, I took a 3-hour nap, which is super rare for me. It's usually like a 20-minute nap, and that's all I get. Actually slept for 3 hours. It was the most indulgent thing ever. Obviously, my body needed it. My husband and I have been indulging in going to the movies a lot lately. We have the AMC A-list where you can see 3 movies a week, and for one pretty low price actually for the month. So we've been, since COVID closed everything down for so long, we've just been crazy indulging in watching lots of movies. We just went and saw Dune this afternoon. So Interesting movie, very, very loud. But anyway, I digress. So today's agenda, or tonight's agenda, is we're going to do a little warm-up indulgence activity, all right? And then we're going to focus on our weekly setup. So especially for our new folks who are thinking, what the heck do I do with these weekly setup pages? There's all these things. There's to-do lists and habit lists, and I don't know what I'm supposed to put in everything. The first thing I want to make sure everybody is clear on is this is your journal, right? This is for you. No one else is going to see it unless you take pictures and post it. And honestly, no one is going to critique you, right? I'm not going to grade it. Nobody's going to grade it. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's all about doing what is right for you. If there's a section you're like, this is not speaking to me at all, like I don't know what to do with this, repurpose it. Do something else. Pop some washi tape over there. Use it for something completely different. And that's what tonight is all about, giving you some ideas of here's some different ways that your fellow Silk and Sonder fam have used these activities. And then we'll just close it out, right? So we'll listen to some fun music on the way and we'll see who can guess my theme with the music. So, all right. So our first activity, I want you to find a blank notes page, or you can just use a piece of paper if you don't want to, if you've already kind of used up all your blank notes pages. And I want to think about ways to involve all of our senses. So one of the things that you may have heard of to do to help calm yourself sometimes is to, if you're having a lot of anxiety or a lot of stress, you can think of something that hits all five senses. So something you can see, something you can hear, something you can taste, something you can smell, something you can touch. And that kind of helps pull you back and ground you back in the moment. So I want to do that with this idea of indulgence, all right? So on your blank piece of paper or your blank notes page, you can write sight, sound, taste, smell, and touch, right? And then I want you to think of something that invokes a feeling of indulgence for you. What is an indulgent sight or an indulgent sound? And then after you do that, write down one thing that makes you happy. So maybe a place where you can fully enjoy and indulge in each of these areas. So I'll show you mine, and I am not super artistic. So my little scribbles in my note, you will see there really is no wrong way to do this. So for sight, I put holiday decorations and lights. Sound, I put 80s holiday music. I love the 80s. Or crackling fire. Taste, I put gingerbread. I've been very into baking gingerbread lately. Smell, baking. My husband makes this fabulous pumpkin bread, so I like the smell of that. Touch, a soft fuzzy blanket. And so for the place that I kind of thought of this was our living room, right? Didn't have to be any place fancy, but I can kind of snuggle up with my soft fuzzy blanket. We've got Christmas lights going in there. I can play the music. We've got a fireplace. So all lovely. So I'm going to put on some music for you. So you can just take a few minutes and write down yours. I'm going to go back to this page so that you can see that. And if you are, you want to, you can share some of your sense indulgence in the chat. All right. I will be back in just a moment. All right. So many awesome things there in the chat from folks. I think I saw some fancy sushi was in there. Obviously, right now we've got lots of folks that are talking about Christmas music and Christmas lights and the smell of pine trees. Listening to the carolers or going and listening to different holiday symphonies or those kinds of things. And some places have opened up a little bit so people can see that. Lots of folks with their pets, right, for touch, petting their cats, petting their dogs, giving snuggles, those kinds of things. Sunsets are really beautiful this type of year. Sunrises are as well. Different kinds of things. I was kind of looking through cinnamon, flannel sheets, warm, right? For a lot of us, we're here in North America and it's winter and it's generally speaking, it's cooler, even for our folks that are in the South, maybe in Florida or Texas, Arizona, it gets a little bit cooler there. So definitely get a chance to kind of indulge in those really nice senses, right? And I think this is a really good example as you start to kind of think of this. If you read the letter, always, for those folks who are new to the journal, Meha, our founder, always has a lovely welcome letter in the beginning of our journals. And this month she specifically says, really giving into indulgence and really, kind of diving into that. If you can do that, if you can let yourself kind of be in the indulgence set frame of mind, you will end up feeling refreshed and rejuvenated, right? And that really is what a lot of us need here at the end of the year. We need a way to indulge and feel rested and rejuvenated so we can take on 2022, which I can't believe it's going to be 2022. So crazy. All right. So hopefully you've got some fun ideas there, and we're going to dive into that weekly planner. So one of the first things, and we are on page, if I don't have my journal there, we're on page 32 for the December journal, which is, I always like, the nice thing I like at the top of this, it says week 49. So we're in the 49th week of the year, which is always kind of interesting to kind of look at, right? So there's that little box up at the top on page 32 that says, this week I want to feel, right? And here's some examples. It's usually maybe a one-word thing that people will come up with. Here's some examples. We have fulfilled, self-love, proud and grounded in my choices as I move forward. So it could be a sentence, it could be a phrase, it could be your mantra for the week. Just coming up with something that how you want to feel this week. And so I'll put up here, my hope is that you don't want to feel any of the fear, anger, or sadness emotions, but the love, joy, and maybe surprise emotions if you aren't sure which one to pick. So again, I'm going to pop on a song here, let you take some time and figure out this week, really kind of be intentional. This week, how do you want to feel? All right. So lots of good feelings from folks coming up with some ideas. I saw a lot of you talked about how this week is going to be a busy week, right? And this month definitely can be very busy. Lots of things going on, gatherings, parties, things to do for family, in addition to all the other things that we always have on our plate. So feeling energized and cheerful and happy and joyful and festive. Um, and then I think I saw it was somebody's birthday. Was it Shelby? Is it your birthday this week? So happy birthday. So maybe feeling celebratory. Um, and what else was I just kind of looking through here? There was somebody who had a good one that was, I want to feel like I'm improving. And I think that is a fantastic way to want to feel like that you're always getting better, always every day learning a little more, maybe knowing a little bit more, kind of the when you know better, do better kind of thing. So the more we can learn, the more we can be around other people and learn things, then the better we can be. And I also read something that I thought was really interesting, talking about if you look back at the work that you did the year before and you're not kind of embarrassed, or you think like, oh my gosh, that was so horrible, how could I have like done that so poorly, then you're not growing. If you look back at the last year and you think like, that was perfect, everything was great, then sometimes that means you're not really growing. You haven't really changed. You haven't really learned anything or moved on. Because I think a lot of people, when we look at things that we did when we were beginners, we look back at it and we think, oh, that looks terrible. But it's not, right? We were learning. So we kind of set up with that beginner's mindset. So hopefully everybody has an idea of how they want to feel this week, going into this week. And it's always nice just to kind of take a look back, right? Every day, and kind of remember, how did you want to feel, and are you feeling that way? So let's move on to our weekly to-dos, right? So same page, it's over there kind of under that little calendar. So here's some examples of things that people have done, right? These can just be, okay, these are things that I need to do this week. One person, plan to spin classes, plan for Pilates, start planning next year's camp themes, a food prep challenge, or getting a design certificate, working on courses, getting things done, doing Silk and Sonder socials, right? Having those in there. And you can see this person kind of has it divided up by work and health and those kinds of things. So you can divide it up that way if you want, or just, it doesn't have to be super amazing things. It can be things like an oil change, let the painter in, drop off the paint at the dump, make a fall playlist, fall lipstick change, find a fall book. Now we can start to think about winter. Technically, that doesn't happen until December 21st, but for a lot of folks, it feels like winter already. Ways that I've seen people repurpose this, use it as a book list. These are some books that I want to read, or maybe journal articles, magazine articles, things that you want to read, movies or TV shows that you want to watch that week. Make a seasonal fun list, right? These are some fun winter things. Maybe you want to do some fun things outdoors, maybe like drive around and see the lights or do different things like that. Some people make their playlist for the week, right? If you're like me and you love listening to different music and making playlists, you can maybe put down some songs that you would want for a playlist. And then I saw someone had repurposed another section here that's in the weekly setup to reflect how they want to feel for the week on a specific day and call it Support the Feels. So it's a great idea, right? So this is a great place to shout out some of those ideas. So again, you know the drill. I'm going to put on some music. I want you to spend a little time on that to do, but again, repurpose it however you want to use that to do section for, and we will be back. All right. So I saw lots of things that people have on their to-do list. Lots of either wrapping holiday presents, going shopping for the holiday presents. And I saw there was a few people who had kind of said they weren't really feeling in the holiday spirit. I can tell you it's been a little tough to do that here just because it's been so warm. We've had freaky 70-degree weather days. It's kind of hard to feel like, ho, ho, ho when it's 70 degrees and you're sweating when you go for a walk outside. One thing to think about too is I hear from a lot of people that they're having trouble finding things, right? The whole supply chain, which I think I'm going to use as an excuse for everything. Like, oh, I got up late. Oh, supply chain. So it's a great excuse for everything now. But one thing to think about is find things that you can give people that maybe aren't things, right? So one year I made for my husband we did as a trip around the world food book, right? And so what I did was I went to Groupon and I found different Groupons for different local restaurants that were different international cuisines. So I had one that was African, I had one that was an African restaurant, we had a Venezuelan restaurant. We have, luckily in here in Denver, we have a lot of really great ethnic restaurants. So I bought all these Groupons and I put them together in this fun little book. And so it was fun. We actually had the rest of the year to kind of eat. Plus I got to benefit from it too, because I got to go to the restaurant as well. So that was kind of fun. So thinking about different kinds of things you can do, making a coupon book with, things like read a book together or go to the library or those kinds of things, find fun things to do. And then of course, lots of all these, fun or not so fun things, right? Like take your car in for a tune-up or all those different kinds of things. Lots of stuff there to put on the to-do list. And again, like I said, if you don't want to do your to-do list here, you're the kind of person who likes to write on sticky notes and use those for your to-do list, you can just use this for whatever you want. Sometimes if I don't actually put anything in the to-do list, I use it to jot down notes, maybe from a meeting that I'm on or a webinar that I'm on or something like that, just kind of a place to jot down my notes. So hopefully everybody has that little section filled in. So the next section is the weekly major 3 goals, right? And so so some people are like, how is this different from a to-do list? And so I see goals as more of kind of like it could be a big, more overarching thing or something that maybe is a bigger task and your to-do breaks down some smaller tasks of your 3 major goals. So you can see some of them are like passing an exam and certification, cooking some different recipes, inviting new neighbors over. That's kind of a fun goal. Dealing with the computer, taking a hike, having a no spend for 3 days, right? So that's kind of a goal, is for 3 days. They don't want to spend any money. Move boxes, do something kind for their staff, or create a tracker for all personal life goals, set boundaries and time box for when to finish tasks. First, I thought that said taxes, and I was like, oh my gosh, no taxes yet. No, just tasks. Make time to work out and decompress from busy days, right? So those are maybe some major goals that you have. Mine, I think, is just for this week, I think is going to just be to kind of I need to start making my list of things that I want to give people. Luckily, I'm a knitter and I knit all year long. So it's mostly just a task of going through the box full of knitted items and figure out who to give them to. April had a good idea here. She does mind, body, spirit. And you could do this over on the other side too for the mind, body, health plan, but coming up with 3 goals for a goal for the mind, one for the spirit, one for the, and then one for the body. So you could break it up kind of however you want. Again, if this isn't a favorite, having 3 major goals, right? You could, again, great place for a book list, your movies and TV shows, your seasonal fun list, your playlist for the week, whatever it is that you want to do. So again, I'm going to let you kind of come up with what your 3 major goals are for the week and share those in the chat, because I can see everybody loves to get ideas for how you use this section, especially if you're going to categorize them like mind, body, spirit goals, those kinds of things. All right. Awesome. Such great ideas. I love how some folks, kind of think of different ways that they can break up these goals. Some people, it's just maybe, it doesn't have to be three. That's the other thing too. It says weekly major 3 goals. It could be 1 goal. Maybe you have there's one thing I absolutely have to do this week, and that you put in this particular section. I really enjoyed Shelby's just going to kick butt all week. So that's awesome. I love things like that, right? You're like, this is what I'm going to do. We're going to go out there and get it. I do want to remind you, and Malika also put this in the chat, make sure that you set your chat to everyone, unless you really just want it to be going to her and I, because otherwise your Sonder fam here can't see what you're saying. So you want to make sure that you switch that too, right? So Isabel has a great question about differentiating weekly to-dos and 3 major goals, and it will actually apply to the next part, I think, for the habit and activity. This is a common question that we get, kind of how is this different from the habit activity? How does that differ from the goals versus the to-dos versus the monthly habit tracker? So the first thing I would say is make sure whatever you do works for you, and it might take some trial and error. So one week you may set it up a little bit differently with your tasks. Maybe tasks are in the to-do, and those tasks would lead to accomplishing the 3 major goals. And maybe the habits are things that can lead to those. So kind of see how that works. And again, sometimes, honestly, sometimes when I look at this, I'm like, it's too much, right? Like I don't need to write this down everywhere. I don't need to have a task list in like 5 different places, right? So again, think about ways that you can repurpose or use this for ways that work for you. So maybe some weeks I have my 3 major goals and some weeks I don't, right? So these are some ideas for the habits and activities. So I'll tell you the way that I use the habits and activities that are different from the monthly habit tracker. So my monthly habit tracker I use for things that I want to do every single day that month, right? So things like if I put things like I want to make sure that I, and this may sound silly, but I want to make sure that I'm flossing my teeth twice a day. Or I want to make sure that I'm remembering to take my vitamins, right? Things I want to do every day. I'll put that in the monthly because that's something that I'm going to do every single day. But what I like to do with the habit activity weekly is I set this up. So this is mine. I like to set it up with a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? So the top thing I have, and this is what I've actually had this on there for several weeks in a row, but spend about 10 minutes in my ridiculous gargantuan email inbox and start unsubscribing to emails. And I want to spend 10 minutes 5 times during the week to get rid of that, to start to get rid of those because it's just become an unwieldy behemoth, right? Walk for 15 minutes. I want to do that 4 times a week. And the nice thing with that is it gives me a little bit of grace because I'm at work 5 days a week, but maybe there's 1 week I'm not able to do it. So that's okay. I've got 4 out of the 7, right? Plenty of time to do that. Read before bed. I'm usually so tired now when I go to bed, I don't want to read, but I remember like, oh, I've got to do this 3 times and I only have this much time left. I've been using the noon or the nun, or I'm not sure how you say it, the little electrolytes that you can put in the water to kind of, first of all, give me something besides water to drink, because sometimes that gets a little boring. And also it does give electrolytes, which is helpful to have. So I just want to do that twice a week and then finish a book 1 time this week, right? And it doesn't have to be 5, 4, 3. You can have each one of these could be, I just want to do this 1 time this week, right? Absolutely fine to do. And then like there's another one, this other example that I have is this person wanted to set up a nighttime ritual, right? This nighttime routine. So they want to work on their Sonder, maybe use some lavender spray around, kind of help with the relaxing mood. No electronics 2 hours before bedtime. Read, meditate / sleep story. So this is a great place. Also, if you're wanting to set up a morning ritual or an evening ritual, this is a great place to kind of write those things down. And remember, when you try to do a whole bunch of new things all at once, what happens? You do really good for maybe a couple days, and then you start to slack off, and then you start feeling bad about it, and then you start feeling guilty, and then you start beating yourself up, and then you don't want to look at the page anymore because you can't possibly get the. So pick a few things, right? If you want to start a new morning routine, you add 1 thing, which is to spend 5 minutes in your Silk and Sonder journal doing whatever. And that's all you do. That's all you add this week, right? That's your 1 thing for your new morning routine. And then next week, you can maybe add something else on. Or you might decide, you know what, that doesn't actually work for me. So maybe I'll do it at night, right? Maybe working in my Sonder journal is a better thing to do at night. So again, this really is all about what works for you. And sometimes you have to experiment, right? So sometimes I'll even put my sleepy time experiment, right? And I'll be like, this week, I'm going to take one of those little chewy melatonin tablets 30 minutes before bed and see how that works. And then I can also use my journal to maybe track how that worked. So think about some things. And again, you can just use 1 line. You do not have to use every single one of these lines, right? It's your journal, do what works for you. I'm gonna give you some time to fill that out. Give folks some suggestions. I see lots of good suggestions people are putting there for habits, and then we'll see you here in just a few moments. right. So there are so many awesome ideas for habits. I've seen lots of things that people are putting down, different ideas of things they want to do, things they want to try. One thing I would also suggest, because I know someone asked if we save the chat to put anywhere, and we don't. So that's kind of scroll through now, and you can kind of see those things. But if folks would be willing to share some of these things in the Sonder Club, this is a great place. That's a great place to kind of share some ideas, and then you can respond back to those. That is a great, great plan. The other thing I was going to mention is a lot of us, when we think of habits and activities, we think of things we want to add, right? And that's kind of a human nature thing. I actually just read a study that was talking about humans have a tendency to, when something's not working, they add more things, right? They think, oh, if I just do this, or I add more to this, or how can I increase something? And we oftentimes don't think about subtracting, right? Sometimes the power of subtraction actually can solve problems better. So one of the things, that's why I have my unsubscribe to emails, right? So taking emails out, I'm not really, yes, I'm adding me taking time to do that, but I'm taking away some of the email stimulus that is becoming overwhelming and also causing me to overspend. So one of the things you might want to think about with your habits is, what are some things you can take away? And I saw somebody had put to get rid of doom scrolling. So if you don't know what doom scrolling is, that's, sitting there looking at horrible news stories and nasty comments and internet squabbles and reading all the comments and trolls and those kinds of things. So telling yourself you're not going to do that, right? If if you're like, okay, I'm not going to spend a lot of time, which, to be honest, that is actually how I found Silk and Sonder, was during the early days of the pandemic, when I was doing a lot of doom scrolling on Instagram. An ad for this popped up, and I'm really glad it actually worked out really well. But definitely want to kind of set those limits. So again, with these habits, think about things instead of adding in a walk or adding in reading a book or adding in these kinds of things. What can you take away? What can you subtract? Maybe you can clean off a corner where there's like a lot of junk or something, right? Clutter. You can get rid of some clutter. Maybe you can stop late night snacking, right? I've been lucky. I'm not a late night snacker, but I know some people kind of have that. So it's like, how can you take that away, right? How can you say, like, I'm not going to go into the kitchen after 9 p.m., right? So kind of thinking of those different kinds of things. Now, if you're really hungry, you probably should eat. So anyway, just to kind of give you some ideas, and lots of really nice ideas about different kinds of habits that you can start to get into. And somebody else I noticed had mentioned, if you're having a hard time doing those habits, or you're having a hard time meeting those 3 major goals, maybe those really aren't the right goals for you. And I would love for you to think for a minute, why are you setting those goals, or why are you deciding those habits are important? Is it really because it's something that you want to do, or is it because it's something you think you should do, right? You think society tells you you should be doing these things, and really kind of think about, why are you doing that, right? Is it going to make you, is it something you really want to do, or do you feel like you should do it? Because the should thing can get a little tricky, right? So anyway, so hopefully you have some of those things. Oh, and I totally forgot to give you a whole list. I always do this. I'm so sorry. I always forgot to give you a whole list of things for your habit tracker ideas, but I don't think you guys needed them, because you were doing a great job going through and finding all those different kinds of ideas of things that you want to do. So I know we're running up on our 10 minutes time. So we do want to talk about your meal plan, right? This is one that a lot of folks are like, I don't really meal plan. I don't really need this part. So I like to use it just to plan dinners, just because that way I feel very happy if I know what I'm going to have for dinner. Like, it can help me plan the rest of my eating for the day, or something to look forward to, or who's going to cook it. Is it going to be me and my husband? So you can certainly use it for that. I've seen people, and I have a picture of affirmations. Some people, they put washi tape over the breakfast, lunch, dinner letters. and put down affirmations. Some people you could write like your daily affirmation from the Sonder, from our Sonder circle. You could put that in there. You could use it for a reading log. How many pages did you read each day? You could use it for a dream journal. That's another one. If you can remember your dreams, sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. I had a dream last night that my husband was boiling eggs and he left them on the stove too long and they blew up and the whole burner blew out of the stove. It was a very strange dream. But anyway, daily affirmations. So, things that you want to put in there, or if you have like a word of the day, maybe, so that would be good. Or some people, and I've seen some people mention it, a gratitude log, right? So some people use it for that. And I see some people are saying like, okay, well, if I don't have washi tape, what could I use? You could just cut out a little strip of paper. It could be colored paper or just, plain notebook paper and just tape it over that. You can also, I know this will probably freak you out, but you could just scribble those out. You can scribble in your Silk and Sonder journal. It's really okay. I've done it. And then use it for what you want to do, right? Stickers, if you have any sort of random stickers, you can kind of pop in there. You can use that to cover it as well. And then I'm also going to go on, in the interest of time, to that next little square for the mind body health plan, right? Oops, went the wrong way. So again, some people like these because they kind of say, okay, what am I going to do each day, either for my mind, my body, my health plan. Some people, I like the one that kind of came up with a little Mask Monday or Do Good Tuesday, Bath Book Podcast, Sweet Treats. Some people use it for a get ready, like if you have a trip coming up, you can put things on there. Oh, Chris has a great idea for repurposing that BLD for breakfast, lunch, dinner. So B is the best part of the day. L is love of the day. D, daydream you indulged in. S, something you shared. What a great idea to repurpose those letters. I love it. Or you can do things like you can decide, some people were using their 3 major goals. They were setting those as like a physical, mental, spiritual. You could also do this for each one of those days. I also like there's a relationship health plan. So they kind of have different ideas for things they can do each day to kind of help enhance and keep their relationship going, right? Again, you could have a specific to-do list. You could use this as your reading log, things that you wanted to read, your packing list. You could decide what your morning alarm songs are. I have a really old iPad that can't really do a whole lot else but be an alarm clock. So I actually have it set up to play a different song every morning, which is really funny because now when I hear some of those songs in the car, I think like, oh, it's time to wake up. But that's a fun way to wake up sometimes too, if you don't like waking up to the sound of the annoying alarm. So, so what I'll do is I'll give you a lot of time to work on these 3 sections. There's also the shopping list, which again, some people use it for food shopping. One person said they were going to make a fall capsule wardrobe, and so kind of started to get some ideas for what they wanted with that. Robbie's saying birthdays and anniversaries. Again, we've got that book list, maybe gift wrapping that you want to do, things that you need, playlist, any of those kinds of things. So I'll just give you a few minutes. You can work on that and we'll pop a little song in. And again, all those great ideas in the chat are super helpful for everyone. All right, lots of good ideas and ways that people have repurposed the shopping section, different things that they could use. I saw someone had put rosebud thorn. So if you've ever been to some of our other socials, we really like the journaling activity of rose, bud, and thorn. Let's see, Erin, did you want to see this page, maybe the shopping list page? For some different ideas to do. This, you could also do a rosebud thorn for each day, right? The rose is something that's going really well. The bud is something that you're looking forward to. And the thorn is something maybe that isn't going as well as you would like. So there's that, was that page. Here's our shopping list. And then the final section that's on here is one that a lot of times people are kind of like, I'm not quite sure what to do with this. So it's a great food, memory, or song, right? And so a lot of times I just kind of, as things pop into my head, sometimes a song will pop into my head that I haven't heard for a long time that I really liked. So I just had a little example of mine. It's a little fuzzy. So gingerbread cookies was a food. A memory was sewing Christmas pajamas with my mom and my sisters one year. We all got together and were sewing up Christmas pajamas. And then the song was Sweet Gingerbread Man, which has had many different singers. I enjoy the Sammy Davis Jr. version of it, but they actually had that on Hawkeye, which is on Disney Plus, which is an Avengers show, which we really like to watch. So it just kind of popped into my head. I was like, I forgot all about that song. Some people use this for their weekly rosebud thorn. Some people use this for their gratitude list. But you can really kind of do, again, whatever works for you, right? Jot down some notes, anything like that, whatever works well as you're going on there. So share your weekly planners with us in the Sonder Club, right? Things that you feel comfortable sharing, right? You don't have to share deeply personal things. We don't necessarily want that. But it really does help when you can share things with your Sonder fam, right? So you can take a picture, you can share that. These are the 2 QR codes for the app if you don't have this app yet. So hopefully everyone has that. We really want to thank you for coming tonight, for spending some time with us, working on your journal. Hopefully you've got your week set up, you're ready to take on the challenges of the upcoming week. And if you get a chance, you will get an email with this link as well. But in the meantime, there's a QR code that you can just hold your phone up, take a picture, scan the QR code, and it'll take you to a survey. Really, the more information you can give us in the survey about things that you would like, we take those to heart, right? Our group is fantastic. The folks at Silk and Sonder really want this to be the best for you. So coming up with these Sonder socials, the weekly setup, all those kinds of things is up to you. And for those of you who weren't quite sure what the theme or my music choices were, I will tell you I am a huge Ted Lasso fan. So these were all songs that were featured in episodes of Ted Lasso, not necessarily the instrumental versions, but they were there. So have a fabulous week. I hope we see you again at another one of these socials. We'll see you on the Sonder Club. And I'll just let you go with She's a Rainbow.